Hey everyone, welcome to Buzzing About Romance, a quick shot of romance. I am Becky, and joining me for this episode is Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Becky.
Okay. I almost fell out of my seat when you said you love this book. It's one of your favorites.
Yeah, I thought about that one. Yeah.
Like 100%. I was like, this book is your favorite?
Yeah, especially if you've only read the newer stuff by the author.
Yeah. Like, I was excited to read this. It's been on my TBR forever. And then I read it, and I'm like, huh, it's not a Jenny book.
Not very much.
So, on this episode of A Quick Shot of Romance, we are reviewing The Contract by Melanie Moreland. This is book one in the Contract series. So, I guess it ends, though, in an HFN because there are two more books about this couple.
There's a novella and then two more books.
About this same couple.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And they spanned a gigantic
amount of time. It's a saga.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. We'll link the synopsis of the book on our On the Shelf show notes at buzzingaboutromance.com. Release date is May 24th of 2016. I will note that this has recently been paperback distribution rights were purchased from Melanie by Waterhouse Press, and new paperbacks were issued in early January of 2024. Which is exciting, which is actually what put it back on my radar because Waterhouse sent me a paperback with the new cover.
It's a discreet cover.
It is a discreet cover. Tropes are age gap. There is a third act breakup. These two are adversaries to lovers. I would almost borderline on enemies for the two of them. They really hate each other in the beginning.
Yeah, it's close, but yeah.
Billionaire. He is definitely a billionaire, even though he works. He has money.
He had unlimited funds. Funds are not an issue.
Yeah. It is boss employee, close proximity, coworkers, damaged hero, because Richard is one of the most damaged of damaged.
Yeah, Richard's got issues on top of issues, like baggage.
It's a fake relationship, marriage of convenience, opposites attract, and this is a slow burn. The series name is The Contract. It is, so everything, all the books that are in the Contract series are all the same couple.
Correct.
So these are not standalones. This is
No. Because the novella is the baby clause, which you can figure out, they have a baby. He is a different person when they have a baby. Then there's the amendment, where his full Richardness comes back out. And then there's a giant time jump.
Okay.
And then the last book.
So these aren't really standalones. Need to be read in order. Put out percentage was 68%. I want to talk about the audio narration of this book because I did do the audiobook. The male narrator is John Lane. We all know how I feel about him. He does all of Rena Morgan's. I love him. I am a John Lane stan. He and Sebastian York, top male narrators, right there. The female narrator was Tatiana Sokolov. She was not very good.
Yeah, I did listen to the audio because I've read this book more than once before, so I listened to the audio.
She was annoying.
And she didn't fit the character very well.
No. I wanted a more... So to be honest, I thought of Emma Wilder or even an Andy Arndt, although I think Andy might be too strong of a narrator for her. I just wanted someone a little softer. Somebody that wasn't meek, because absolutely our heroine has a backbone. Katie has a backbone. She would have been one that spoke quietly and carried a big stick kind of thing.
Yes, I would agree.
So is there a third act breakup? Yes. Yes, there is. And it destroys you.
Yeah. Because you're like,
Well, part of me wants to punch Richard.
well, yeah, I mean, that's Richard.
That guy's
That's
a
100%.
dick.
Like, he's a Richard. Like, don't be a Richard.
I hate him. Like, the book started out and I'm like, no, 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 no. He's not good. He is not good.
He's not. He's not at all.
Um, and I'm still unsure if I like him at the end of the book. He did grovel. That was a
He
really
did.
great grand gesture grovel. But so tell everybody what the premise of this book is.
Like you said, boss employee, he's her PA. He gets like passed up for a promotion. So he's done. He's going elsewhere. But to get into the like best competing firm, he's in advertising. He's got to be a family man.
Right. And not an asshole.
Right. So he's got a lot of work to do. And so the best way to be a family man when you're known to be a man whore is like to fall in love, right? So two birds, one stone, like get engaged to Katie, his PA, so then they both have to leave.
Yeah, which because the firm that he's leaving has very clear um oh God, the word just what did you say?
Not fraternization.
Right, a non-fraternization policy, and it's very clear. And the whole time that Katie has worked for him, he has been nothing but nasty to her.
Like over the top nasty. Like if she doesn't have like the right amount of cream cheese on his bagel.
But so at first I was like, she gonna say no. She got to say no. Stand up for yourself. And then we learn the reason that she's willing to deal with why she's dealt with his nastiness and his attitude and his condescendingness towards her is that her Penny, because I don't want to say who Penny is because I think that's part of, and content warnings, mention of death of parents, abusive workplace.
Yes.
Katie was a runaway after she lost her parents, and there's Penny that steps in for her. I guess I kind of gave that away, but Penny needs care, and Katie wants to give Penny the world.
Right. Yeah, she was the one there for her.
And I will say, Richard redeems himself in the care that he gives Penny. He might not be able to tell Katie why he is the way he is, or that he can, totally treat her with kindness. But the way he treats Penny.
Right. It's really like interesting the way the dynamic between Penny and Richard is, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's like pretty much her friend from the start.
Well, Richard's kind of like your nosy asshole neighbor that needs to know everything, doesn't want to be left out of anything, but acts like he doesn't care.
But he's still going to give you his opinion.
And he's going to give you your opinion on it. And he totally, like, Katie goes to visit Penny and he can't figure out where she is. So then he stalks her to find her.
Right.
And when he does, he's floored because he doesn't know anything about Penny.
Right. Because sometimes I'm like, like for being an intelligent man, you really don't sometimes.
He was a lot dumb a lot of the time, Jenny. A lot of the time. And honestly, so the way the story is written, it's really well written. It was a really great dynamic between these characters. I liked Katie that when the moments that she needed to have a backbone, she had a backbone. She stood up, she negotiated and got what she needed to take care of the things that were important to her. And even though this is a slow burn, there was plenty of chemistry. Like, there was great chemistry, and there's a moment where the new company, he's kind of on this trial basis working interview for 6 months, and they're at this party, and it's the night before they're going to have their fake wedding, and he fucks up. And Katie, like, puts his feet to the fire. Like,
yeah.
But she doesn't completely walk away because Penny.
Yes, she needs security.
Yeah, and it all worked. I didn't feel like she gave off desperate vibes or damsel in distress. Like, it was never any of that. She was working the system, the hand that she was dealt, and playing it to her advantage.
Yes. Yeah. Like you said, like she made sure to get what she needed and like negotiated.
Yeah. Well, and so Melanie Moreland, typically the books that I've read by Melanie Moreland, they're these kind of burnt cinnamon roll type heroes, grouchy outside, soft and squishy inside, caregivers. Yeah. None of these are Richard. None of them. So if you've read her Garage series and then you come over to the contract, it is not the same.
No, it is not at all.
Not the same. But it was really well written and I really did like it. But yeah, Richard frustrated me a lot in this book.
He is a Richard.
And it's so funny because I said something to Leah about reading it and she's like, "Oh, Richard."
Yeah.
And it's like everyone that reads that book seems to have that same response.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, he does redeem himself for a while, like in the novella, and then oh man, the other two books are rough too. Like,
okay, I guess we're gonna have to read those and then come back and do quick shots for those. Or at minimum, should you read it, it's over on Patreon.
Yeah, we can do that because I made it through book 2. Like, that's a tough one. But like book 3 was even harder. Like, I was like, oh
goodness. Like Kindle throwing worthy.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, she sets it up and you know what's coming, and then you're like, oh no, oh.
Don't do it. Oh goodness. Okay. Melanie's making me work for my money, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I will say, while he is wealthy and money is of no object to him, it doesn't read as a traditional billionaire-styled romance.
No, he's not like flaunting his money, and he works like he's not the CEO, right? Like,
no, yeah. He works. He works hard, works long hours. We don't hear descriptions of expensive bespoke suits and fancy cars. His apartment is luxurious, but
he does have his initials embroidered into his shirt.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Okay, well, that was a little much. But I did feel like for being like the billionaire type romance, he didn't come off as an elitist, but he is a snob.
Yes. Yes, that is a good way to explain it.
Anyway. So yeah, we read the contract. Don't do the audiobook. That's my suggestion.
Yeah. It is a great book. Like I said, it's one of my favorite from Melanie.
It was really great. I love John Lane, and I could have just listened to John Lane for the whole book. Like, he could have read both parts. He does that for, like, Rena Morgan. But I didn't love her. Anyway. Well, Jenni, thank you so much for reading the contract with me.
You're welcome.
Until next time, everyone, happy reading.
Find us on Instagram at BuzzingAboutRomance or on Twitter at BuzzingRomance. If you like the podcast, please leave a review. If you'd like to support us directly, join the Bookcase and Coffee Patreon and receive exclusive content only available to Patreon members. Check out bookcaseandcoffee.com for our on-the-shelf show notes.